waiting for them to bring a couple more chairs. Can you hear now? Yes. In the back? So let me go ahead and make some announcements. So we have plenty of time for Miss Tina. She will need every bit of her time to tell us all her stories. I want to introduce Audrey Simmons, who is a member of the Historic Preservation Commission here in Round Rock. Wave to the crowd. One of those waves. And our Round Rock Preservation Board members, Frank and Ann Darr, over here in the front. Amy Petrovic. Who am I forgetting? Yolanda R. is just a great volunteer in our organization. Kirsten Harding, there's a couple of hats. She's with the City Historic Preservation Office, and she serves as our treasurer. And I'm Judy Anderson. And yes, I'll do that. Thank you. I'm currently the president of Round Rock Preservation. And I don't want to forget, Tina Steiner is also on our board of directors for Round Rock Preservation. She is such an involved person in our community. Yes, indeed. Yes. Which I'll introduce her in a moment. City staff, we are so grateful for the Baca Center being so accommodating for us to have these lunch and learn meetings here every quarter. They go out of their way for us, and we really do appreciate them, and we let them know that frequently. But if you're in the Baca Center and you see Michael or any of his staff or Kelly, let them know how much you appreciate the fact that they allow us to have the use of this room for these meetings. Let's see. Wow, what a great crowd. Tina, you always wrong. Quick update on our activities at Round Rock Preservation. You know, last year we had the opening of the stagecoach and the reopening, and that was such a huge celebration, and it had taken us 12 years to accomplish that. We kind of thought we needed a little breather this year. No, not so much. We have been focusing our energies on education this year with articles, history articles that are being published on a monthly basis on Round the Rock Facebook page. If any of you follow that page, our articles are there. Then I also publish them on Round Rock Preservation, one of our sites, and we'll include that information in newsletters as they come out. So I hope when you signed in that we can read your email addresses that you have written there for us, and we will include you on those newsletters. And speaking of those articles, this is a wonderful selection of Round Rock people in this room with lots of history that you each have. If you are passionate about some historic place in Round Rock, a person, an event that happened in time, feel free to write one of those articles. Contact me, talk to me afterwards so I can make sure you have my card and you have my email address. We would love to have participation from those of you that support our organization. And we have membership applications over the front desk. If you're not currently a member of Round Rock Preservation, we would love to have you join our ranks and participate in the projects that we're involved in. We need lots more hands and feet doing the work. We also were asked by several different groups if we would do history presentation at their organization, their groups. A couple of senior citizen facilities have contacted us. So we're really excited about that not only do people know something about us, but they trust that we can deliver some historic information for them. So we're excited to be able to do that. Spread the word there if you know groups that might be interested in having some history information shared. And the Sansom House next door to the Stagecoach Inn that was reopened last year, We are still advocating for renovating. It won't be to the level that the Stagecoach Inn was, but I know that Parks and Rec are working on estimates and information about being able to do some work on that wonderful historic building. Has the two-story one that's so tied to the north. Okay, good. Cheers. Just so we don't make for noise for a moment. Any questions anybody have on any of that? See me afterwards if you have an idea for an article, okay? Sorry. We're happy to publish all of those. I should say, talking on myself, but I eat too. How are we doing back there? Got enough chairs? Yes. Thank you, Larry. Well, I see that the founder of our organization has just arrived. She wasn't supposed to be able to be here today. Hi, Shirley. This is Shirley Buckhead. A lot of you know Shirley. We're glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss Tina's presentation if you could avoid it.
I can honestly say we wouldn't be here without Shirley.
That's exactly right. We appreciate all that she has done for Round Rock and for preservation in our city. All right, let me introduce this lovely lady. Tina Steiner is a 5th generation Round Rock native. She is active as a Round Rock ISD educator for how many years? 23 years. Hallelujah. And she's a community leader, I told you that. She has so much personal knowledge of the connection of the Flats neighborhood to downtown and the residents that live there. And the downtown for them at that time was referred to as Uptown. And Tina will talk about that. Tina and her family members, and this is her sweet aunt, Ella.
And my mom.
They have made a significant impact to the history of Round Rock since the 1800s, and we are very grateful for all that you've done for Round Rock. She's going to tell us about the history of the businesses that were downtown, uptown, during that time from the Flats neighborhood, and the connection of those individuals from the Flats to the Round Rock cemeteries. And that's going to be a lot of information. We're pleased to have her here today. She's taken the time off from teaching with her superiors right here, joining us also. And don't critique her like you did when you visited the class.
It's not too good.
That's right, that's right. So put your hands together and join me in welcoming Tina to the other stage.
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a loud voice, so I might have to pull it apart from here. But yeah, thank you, Judy. This is a wonderful organization, so if you want to look into it, please do. I think I have so many joining today. We do a lot of things. We just saved the Stagecoach Inn thanks to Shirley, and that's a significant historical feat right there in and of itself. Like Judy said, I am 5th generation Round Rock native. Been here since the 1800s. My great-grandfather was known as the Cotton King of Williamson County. And so he worked way off close to Palm Valley Lutheran Church on 79. My Aunt Stella worked at, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. My Aunt Stella worked at the Palm House, and my grandmother Ethel was a maid to several people in the city. And I believe Larry Quick, didn't she, was she a maid with you guys? Yeah. Quick, you see the Quick sign? This is a man. So, and then just a little bit, I always have to give a shameless plug because I want people to join the organizations that I'm a part of. So I'm a former Housing Authority Commissioner, Roundrock Historic Preservation Commissioner, and Williamson County Historical Preservation Commissioner. I'm also director with Roundrock Preservation, and I serve on the Roundrock Black History Organization, El Amistad Club, and the Roundrock Cemetery Association, as well as Friends of the Roundrock Public Library. They tell me I'm a community leader, but it's really in the genes. As I like to call my grandfather the Pied Piper of Round Rock, because every time you go up to Johnson's grocery store, he walked back with a bag full of candy and kids trailing behind him. So, this is a lot of history. It's over 100 years worth of history I'm going to share with you. It's going to be quick, because they only gave me 45 minutes to do this. So, I have pictures. It's mostly telling a story through pictures and a little bit of history behind it. But it is so, I brought books also that are out that you can look at as well. So we're going to start in the Flats neighborhood. The Flats neighborhood is a low-lying residential area, and it sits on May Street south of Brushy Creek. If anybody knows, is anyone aware of where the Flats are? Yeah. People at the library know where the Flats are because they're in the Flats. That's the area there that we're going to be looking at today. So it was the first subdivision addition to Round Rock. We had Old Town this way, and then when Washington Anderson came in, he sold 150 acres, and the railroad came through, and so then Round Rock came to be. The Flats was the only residential neighborhood in that area. And so, as it says up here, we were a tight, multi-ethnic community. There we had all kinds of people down there. We were all family. We still are. There's several of us still in the area. This house is where the Ruby Hotel is now. It used to be that this was the Bustons. It wasn't on the Bustons' home. It was the only house really in that area for the longest. And so now it sits in the park, it's the side of the parking lot where the Ruby Hotel was. And it's gone. And you'd always see Mr. Buston sitting on the porch and he'd wave as everybody drove by. And so that house, like I said, now is gone. We're just gonna look at a couple of homes in the area. This house sits directly across the parking lot from the library, and it's been there forever as well. There's a gentleman that sits on the porch and he waves as cars go by as well. So you see in this community, in this little neighborhood, you see a lot of people sitting on porches waving because they're just that friendly. This was the home where the library was. A lot of these homes have a connection to the library. The new library actually sits on where this house is, and it had a couple of businesses there as well. This one's on the corner from the library. And we thought it important to show some of the homes that were down there because we have so many new things coming in, you know, with economic development going on. I have an 82-year-old neighbor who helped raise me, and yeah, she spanked me too when my grandma couldn't. So she's still there, and she lives on the corner, and there's just all this stuff coming up around her, and it's kind of hard for her. We were able to, thank goodness for the city, to be able to get her air conditioning, because she still has window units, and it's awful hot out there now. So there's a lot of great resources with the city to help people in the Flats neighborhood. Let's talk about two Flats families. There's a lot of families down there. We're going to talk about two Flats families, and this is my great-grandfather and my grandfather, my grandfather, Otto W.W. Saul. Some of you may have heard his name. He built the majority of the homes in the Flats and surrounding areas. If you take a drive down downtown Round Rock, you're sure to see a house that he built. You see, he was very prevalent in the neighborhood. St. Paul, Miami, he was instrumental in bringing our church from across the highway to downtown Round Rock, which is a couple of blocks from City Hall. Many people don't know, Old Settlers Park was actually across the highway. It's where McDonald's and all that was. Yeah, some of y'all remember, right? but before it became this really massive thing out here, you know, so it was really small. They had the carnival every summer, and it was a lot of fun. Our church is the second oldest church in Round Rock. We just celebrated 140 years this year. And so this is the Cotton King of Williamson County here. And my grandfather. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, and this is St. Paul AME Church. 140 years, and we still go to church. Second person is Jolie Johnson. A lot of you may know Jolie Johnson Elementary. Jolie Johnson was my 6th grade math teacher. If you acted up in his class, he's not going to call your mom. He's going to drive to your house. He's going to know exactly what you did. He did not play. But he was an amazing, amazing educator, and he was the first teacher to integrate into Round Rock ISD as color, to integrate Round Rock ISD. He has the 34th elementary school named after him, which sits off of Wells Branch Parkway. So he was a Glee coach, a mentor. His wife Melanie was my 3rd grade teacher, so I couldn't escape either grade. And they help businesses in the flats. They donated that, well, not donate. My cousin, Joe Douglas, sold the property that the new library sits on, and on that property, they had a business called the Cozy Corner. I love this because if you walk into the library where the tables are, our nickname for the Cozy was a cafe. That area in the library is called the cafe. So I love that they brought that forward. There were several houses there, like I said, but there was an older home there on that property too, and I don't remember, Ella, how old was that house? That little one shack that stayed there forever? Yeah, and they just tore it down when they built the library. So back then, wood was good. You know, houses were sustainable. It's not working. This is the Cozy Corner, or was the Cozy Corner. Cozy Corner got me through my bachelor's degree because I worked there at night. And I had to drive to San Marcos up back and forth, and I worked there. And it was a family establishment. Tuesday night was teacher's night. They had teacher's night. And Wednesday night was family night, and Miss Johnson would make chicken and dumplings or something, and everybody would eat and just hang out. It was amazing. And this, of course, is Jolie Johnson Elementary. Oh my goodness. I kid you not, I don't know what's going on with this thing. So Newtown is like Judy said, Newtown now is called downtown. But when we were in the flats, we would say, we're gonna go uptown to get this or that because we walk uptown. So it's kind of hard. You know that you'll know a local when you ask them if you're gonna go so-and-so and they'll say, oh, you don't go uptown? We still say uptown today. Washington Anderson, like I said, he sold 150 acres worth of stuff when the railroad came in. When the railroad came in, and then they started putting a gist mill in. They had a couple of other businesses that came through. Let's see if that picture is here. There we go. So this is it. This is how Round Rock looked back then. It's kind of faded, but you can get an idea of what went on then. That railroad brought a lot of business into Round Rock. Even as a little girl, I remember seeing the silo that was by the railroad track here, and that hasn't been long gone. That stayed up there forever. And I think it's where the depot is. That's where the depot apartments are, the condominiums or whatever. That's why they named it that. Yes, the cotton gin. We had a few grocery stores. Rubio's Grocery was one, and my grandmother, I should death, God rest her soul, she used to dip snuff. So she sent me up to Rubio's to get some stuff. And when I walked in, he goes, what are you going to use this for? Is it for you or your grandma? And he would pick up the phone literally and call her to make sure she sent me up. So Rubio's Grocery was one store, and then there was Johnson's Grocery downtown. Many of you are familiar with Johnson's Grocery. It was a huge one, yes. It was, there weren't many. We didn't have to go too far to get anything. This is a gas station on the corner, but now it's the Long Branch Saloon. We had Quick's Pharmacy, Larry's family. Yes, that was amazing. They had the best root beer floats. I kid you not, it was amazing. And we had TG&Y was downtown. We had White's and Western Auto. And we didn't have to go anywhere. You could just walk up and get whatever you needed. This is what it looked like once upon a time. Many of you are familiar with the Tavern. It used to be on Matador. It was the best Mexican restaurant too. Do you remember too? Yeah. It had the best food. Now that's the Brown Rock Tavern. And then next to it, we have the bar district now. It's like on 86th Street. So it gets in the middle when you see things like this that are gone. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you miss being able to just walk, right, somewhere to just get to what you needed. Oh, and the Round Rock Leader. How could we forget the Round Rock Leader? It used to be downtown too, yes. In fact, it was on Main Street for a minute too. Yeah. Yes, and I believe it also was at the bank off of 35. Yes. Yep. Are you from Round Rock? She's like, okay. All right, so let's see here. Ben's Barber Shop was across the street. Everybody knows Ben's Barber Shop. It was across the street from the library, and Ben had people waiting outside. You could only fit about 2.5 people in there anyway. He had people waiting outside for him. The saddest thing with this though, next to Ben, and a lot of people don't know, some of you remember, there used to be a boxing gym, and our kids were there all the time working out. Does anyone remember the boxing gym? No. Okay, it was kind of behind it like a little warehouse, and all the kids would go there. And this was probably in 80s, late 80s, mid to late 80s, I believe. This at the corner was a taco place, or what? So
it's across the road library.
yes, it's across from the former library. And then there was a Hispanic bar. We had a Hispanic bar here. We had a black bar across the street. And then those were the only bars down there, right? Yeah, they were the only ones there. And they weren't really bars. You just go and hang out and have, eat and just maybe have a beer or whatever. But we were all family. We still are. There's still a lot of people there. Okay, I tell you what. Next we're going to do something different with this. How many people remember the post office downtown? People look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, but it's where the visitor center is now. And we have box number 576. So I always have to go get the mail, but right? Forever. Even when we moved to the new post office, we still had box 576. But this was so convenient to just walk up and just get your mail. Now, you gotta drive across town or whatever. But I'm doing this to show that everything was right there. It was right down here, everything. Everything. As far as gas stations, we have the one in Long Branch. Who remembers Bub Adams gas station? Y'all remember? I know y'all remember. Bub Adams, my grandmother would go and get $2 worth of gas and we ride all week on it. Right? Way back when. And this was a hair cutting place. This building is no longer there, I believe. I'm sorry?
I was going to say, when I moved to town, that was right.
That was there, right? It was a haircutting place and it was something else. I don't quite, was it a florist or something? But it didn't stay very long. And it was not far from the gazebo that nobody can find. We used to sit in that gazebo in the middle of town and watch cars go by because that's just what it was. That was fun to do, when you're a kid. Madsen Tire. Madsen Tire is, it was several different businesses too. And if I vaguely remember correctly, it was a flea market. Was that that was the
Garage, Stumblefield Garage.
Stumblefield Garage? Okay. Ellen knows everything. She used to come up here and do this. She knows a lot of Brown Rock history. Okay, here we go. Who doesn't know Tio Dan's Puppy Tacos? Right? And next to Tio Dan's was Lynn's Chinese restaurant. Do y'all remember that one? Yeah. That was a really good restaurant too. And they really cook food well there. But here's the one here. The Dragon Restaurant. Round Rock High School was the only high school here when I was growing up. And everybody, if you weren't at Mr. Gaddon's on Friday night in the parking lot hanging out, you were at the Dragon Booster getting Donnie's cheeseburgers. Yes. Yes. And look how it just looks Oh my gosh, that's so nostalgic. Victor Robertson was one of the other grocery stores, and Victor Robertson was on Mays. It was also a Greyhound bus station, so you can go and get your bus. The bus would pull up right in front of Victor Robertson. You're trying to get your orange juice or whatever. And this is when, in middle school, I was able to go off campus for lunch because we lived in the neighborhood. So 6th grade, we're walking down to Victor Robinson's, getting our orange drink, and they're going to put bus in the way, you know. We walked to the Lone Star Bakery, and I shared the other day, we had half a dozen donuts for 60 cents. 3.9. Oh God, 3.9. Yeah. 60 cents. Now they're $6.80-something. Man. Yes. Who remembers Stuckey's? Yes, Stuckey's. Stuckey's was out of town though. Back then it looked like it was way out of town because there was nothing in between us and Stuckey's. Now, I did this because on the left is Round Rock High School. And then it became Round Rock Middle School. Now it's CB Folks. So, and it's not there anymore, and I tried really toward the building now, but I have some rocks in my garden because I had to have them there, you know, for nostalgia purposes. It was, Ella was supposed to be the first Black student to integrate into Round Rock ISD. But being a girl, and my grandpa being concerned, he said no. He didn't want her to go through all that. So our cousin, I'm sorry?
They said no.
They said no, okay. Okay. So my cousin, Anthony Mays, he became the first Black student to integrate. Slave Grave Cemetery. We have put effort into trying to make this a little bit more presentable because it was overgrown by so many things. There were weeds and just rocks and everything. We just held a Juneteenth event there. We had 120 or 30 people that showed up, and it was a really good ceremony. We went and blessed the cemetery. But we have a lot of concerted efforts with Larry being on the board as well, and Mike Chadron being president. We're doing a lot of cleanup efforts. It looks a lot better. We still have a lot of work to do, but it's getting there. It's getting really nice now. We have had workshops for cleaning the headstones, and it just looks so bright now. It just looks really bright now. Let's see. We just had this sign, actually, the sign that was there before, it was falling apart. So we had someone make a new sign, and it looks really pretty. And there's also a trail that you can walk up to that part of the cemetery. We put out lights as well so you can see it, and you can see the perimeter of it. So, I mean, it's getting there. This is what some of the things look like. So we don't know, we know that's a headstone, but we don't know if somebody piled a bunch of rocks, if they were headstones or what, so we're looking into doing something about that. So Mike has done GIS system, he's done ground penetration, so we do know that there are anomalies there, but we don't know if they're actually actual barriers, so. It's a step in the right direction. That's Round Rock Cemetery. That's the slave grave portion. This is Round Rock Cemetery here, and it's all in one section, in one part. Not, and I don't know the exact year, but not so very long ago, the cemeteries were separated. They were segregated. So on the left side, you had Round Rock Cemetery, and then you had Hopewell Cemetery.
No.
I see you saying no.
Yes, the Black Cemetery was, the land was purchased from this particular area
Yes.
in 1885.
Thank you. I didn't
By
know either.
Hopewell Church
Yes.
and Sweet Home Church, they're the blacks.
Okay.
And it became the Black Cemetery, well, they call it colored cemetery.
It was Hopewell Colored Cemetery.
And we, probably about 10 or 15 years ago, they changed it to the Hopewell Cemetery.
But they were separated, and there was a fence. Do you remember when the fence came down?
In the 70s.
In the 70s, yes. So it had literally had a fence separating both. I went and picked out famous people in the cemeteries, and everybody knows Sam Bass is buried out there, and A.W. Grimes. I still don't understand how Sam Bass got his own street and A.W. Grimes didn't get one until way later. But, so, Slave Grave Cemetery, I did kind of cover a little bit of, oh, those people didn't go in there. Okay, so this is the Hopewell Colored Cemetery. One of the famous people that most people don't know about is Thomas Allen, and I believe he's an uncle. Yeah, he's an uncle of ours. Thomas Allen was the second black police officer in Austin. He was the second black police officer to be killed on the job also. He had some kind of altercation with the blacksmith, and the blacksmith got mad and shot him. So, I don't know how long he served on the force, but that was like the second one. I don't know how many that came after him, you know, or how long after that they came. So he's the famous one there. But this is what the Hopewell Cemetery looks like. We do have some rocks that are placed out there. Most of them we know who's there. And most people don't realize either, there are 2 slave grave cemeteries out there. There's one on the Round Rock Cemetery Association side, and there's one on the Hopewell Cemetery side. So when we say slave grave, people automatically assume it's at the Round Rock Cemetery. As you can see, they're kind of old, and some of them, the names are coming off. I'm thankful that my aunt, my mom, and a cousin, we go out there and clean it up, but the city does take care of it for the most part. They do cut the grass and everything, but we place flags for Memorial and Veterans Day, so it still needs a lot of work, but it's getting there as well. Same. We don't know. I mean, we have things like this. We don't know if it's a header or footer or if it's someone else. This right here, I love this area because it has so much vegetation, but there's also a grave in there as well that you can see. It's really pretty, but I don't know if there's just one in there.
Yes, John Earl and his wife.
Oh,
He was a World War I veteran.
Okay. And see, there's more rocks. And I know that one of these is a grave because you can see a little of the etching on it, but not very much. Okay, I need a clicker. And that may be the last one there. I believe it is. So, like I said, this is like a lot of history, so I tried to pick really important pictures so you can kind of get a visual of how it connected. Downtown, the Flats was our neighborhood. Uptown was where we did our business, you know. Kelly Cleaners was there. We did everything downtown. We had to go, there was one doctor's office over off of 79 by the Baskin Robbins. Yeah, that was it. It was like a little bitty trailer hospital thing. Dr. Moore. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Moore was downtown as well. My grandmother was his maid, Dr. Moore's maid. My grandmother was my first grade teacher's maid. So every time we would go to Miss Boyd, Zena Boyd's house, she would make us sit and read. I'm out of school. I'm just there with Mama's cleaning. But she would make us, and she'd make us eat Swiss cheese. So I was like, I love that. But she would always tell Miss Johnson, you better make sure she goes to college. That girl's smart. You better, because all I wanted to do was read. The library was my safe space. I still live in the library, right, girl? Yeah. So that's pretty much it. You know, I hope you got a kind of an idea about Round Rock downtown. If y'all have any questions, I hope I can answer.
Liberty was our Wall Street.
Yes, Liberty was our Wall Street. Liberty is where the library sits. And that was all family. It was all family. Everything was all family. There's not very many of us left down there, though. So, yep. Any questions? You have questions?
Somebody have questions? Yes, this is to do with the cemetery place there, asked. Is it the cemetery board that's responsible for the fence, or is that the city?
Okay, which fence?
Let's repeat the question. The split rail fence on Sandbass Road that goes around the cemetery, it's falling apart, but I don't know, is it the cemetery board that has to repair that, or is it the
Larry.
city that has to do it?
It's the city.
Well, tell them to do it.
We have asked several times, and the problem is, those rails are made of concrete.
Right.
So it's very expensive to repair it that way. So the city is basically budgeting to have the whole fence rebuilt. But it's also involved with the, let's say, redevelopment, realignment of Sandbass Road. So that's a project that's in progress, but
So they're waiting to figure out the alignment of what.
Yeah, we don't know if they're gonna widen it or shorten it or what, right?
I want to say something that really you have to understand. At this point, the Flats was a neighborhood. It was a community.
Yes.
And we all knew each other on the afternoons and during the week. It was hot in August. Everybody would go down to the Brushy Creek and go swimming or have a picnic. The same thing, July 4th, everybody had a barbecue, just walk down the street and stop and talk to people and have a hot dog or a barbecue. I guess a measure of what a community it was, no one had locks on their houses, the doors. The doors were just closed and that you could walk in. But this summer, people went to Galveston for a week of vacation down to the coast. And that's the only time you locked the house. Well, at that time, nobody had a key, so you went into the pantry, the pantry where you kept your canned goods, and right outside there was a little nail with a skeleton key. I don't know if you know what a skeleton key is, but it's a universal key all across the United States. That opened every door. So that's a measure of what the community was. But there's one event I think that's really, you have to understand. On Tuesday nights, the Women's Volunteer Fire Department would have their practice. They drove the fire truck up to the first block on Main Street, and then parked by the fire department, fire hydrant. And then they would ring the bell and start a stopwatch, and the women would run around and get the fire hoses out, and then they would set it up and connect it, and then they would start to spray down the street. All of the kids in the Flats were down there waiting for this. It's like you see in movies of the big city. It was a party, and it was an event. You ride your bicycles around in the spray that was coming down. So that's just a measure of what Round Rock was like at that time.
Larry, was that the pumper team?
Sorry?
Was that the pumper team practicing?
Yes.
Is that?
Thank you, Larry. Yes, we have a question.
When I moved here in 1977, the Round Rock Library was across from the post office. And when we first moved in here, it was a big to-do because the library collapsed. Because it had been a gas station and they hadn't filled in the tanks. Where was the library before they moved it to the collapsing building?
It was like a little trailer, right? It was a trailer, yeah. Then the fire department was next door to the library, which was there too, and Parks and Recreation, so. And Sam Bass would fall down the stairs every hour on the hour during Frontier Days.
Tina, I couldn't place physically a street or something where the Slavey Cemetery is.
Yeah, it's off the Sam Bass, where both the cemeteries are. He's asking where slave cemeteries are. Yeah. Yes.
Well, what did the young lady say?
Just
It's west of the railroad track that goes north and south through there, and it's the first cemetery you come to when the white cemetery is next to it.
yeah, there's slave
So if
cemetery.
you come from the other direction, if you come from the east headed west, the slave cemetery is at the far west end of a cemetery, not Hopewell.
We can go out there sometimes.
It's up to the northwest corner.
Yeah.
It's not visible from the street.
No. One family there, I found the headstone years ago, because I go over there regularly, because people go and move the rocks and things, And I found one family, the last name was Williams, the wife, the mother, and the baby was etched in this stone, and I don't know what happened to it. I didn't see it when we had the opening, but it's probably there somewhere.
Tina, do you know how they got the land for the
I
cemetery?
don't know, I'm sure Ella does.
For our cemetery back in 1885, Reverend Black and another minister from Good Old Baptist Church, and then Sweet Home wasn't there at that time, it was a Methodist church, and they purchased the land in 1885, and it is on public record. I have a copy of the deed.
I have a question. Are there no records of the people that are buried in Hopewell Cemetery?
Yes, we have.
You have records?
Records through the funeral home, and also I have records and pictures.
So that could be reconstructed with a lot of work.
Oh, yes.
With a lot of
And
work.
we've made some.
Helpers.
We've made some headstones. I made some headstones out of 4x8 concrete and pasted plastic letters on top of the names of the people that I know. And they've been over there about 5 years, and they're still standing. Well, not standing, but they're flat.
That's such important history that's lost without the efforts of people like Ella and Larry and all, and the blankets here with the Williamson, it's along with Williamson County Historical Commission Cemetery Restoration Volunteers. And they do work in Williamson County on all of these remote and hidden cemeteries that are around and restore headstones and all of that.
Well, I was going to ask, are those names that you have, are they on Find a Grave? If somebody goes to Find a Grave and looks for the slave cemetery, will they be able to find those names? If you take a picture of, for example, the headstone, and you can place that on Find a Grave with each of those names, then it'll be available for the public anytime,
I
anywhere.
put those Find graves a lot, and some of those names that my family, well, my mother and father told us about, they're not on Find graves, but they haven't been gotten.
Exactly. So it's
But Find
pretty
grave
easy.
is wonderful.
Yes, it is.
So
It's very
Ella
easy to
said
do
that
that.
she had looked on Find a Grave, but because it wasn't documented,
Yeah, some of them.
they're not there.
And it's about 4 or 5 other cemeteries here in central Texas and in North Texas that's also named Hopewell. But prior to the mid-70s, we weren't Hopewell, we were just other cemeteries.
You have a question back there?
I'm a newbie to Round Rock. I've only lived here since '79. So I haven't been here.
I haven't been here a long time, only since '79. But thank you for the reminders of the things I did know, and I will be looking up some of the things I don't know about. And I want to thank Tina especially for this wonderful presentation. You can go ahead and applaud. And thank you very much for inviting the public to be here. And if all your meetings are like this, count me in.
We do need members.
We do. There's a membership application on the front desk up here for anyone who's interested in joining. This is a wonderful turnout today. We knew that it would be, with not just with Tina speaking, but with the subject matter as well. So we really appreciate the good showing here. And I have something for you too.
We have door prizes too.
Any other questions before we move on? Thank you. What in the back? Lynn?
I have a question. Souls Ranch, the new development, everything, was that part of all of your family in the land house?
Grandfather on all.
Yeah, great-great-grandfather and all that. And Jody Johnson actually sits on Saul's Drive as well, so, yeah. It was 15 kids, 18 kids, so, great, yeah.
They grew up on Palm Valley.
They grew up on Palm Valley. I saw a lot, I love that I saw a lot of heads shaking when I say something that you remember what it was, and it's not like that in so long. So just to take a walk down memory lane is, I love it.
And it's definitely changing every day, and will be changing more in the next few months. My good friend Tina. This certificate of appreciation is for Tina Steiner, and she's recognized for her contributions as a longtime local historian, community leader, and Round Rock ISD educator. She provides important stories of the individuals who have come before us, connecting the past to the present. She and her family have had a substantial impact on the history of Round Rock since the 1800s. Round Rock Preservation and the City of Round Rock Historic Preservation Office thank Tina for her enlightening presentation at our August 12th Discovering Round Rock History program.
Thank you, lady.
You didn't know that I saw it skinny. So, I failed to mention that each one of the people that I mentioned today, my grandfather, it's actually the Sauls family, these are local legends in the city of Round Rock. So that's really, and that was kind of hard because people didn't know who they were. But yeah, Jody Johnson also served on the city council. These people were really prevalent in making history in Round Rock. And it's the past few years that Ella and I have really pushed the African American narrative. Because, people knew my grandmother as a maid. They knew my grandpa because he was blind and he'd walk uptown, or whatever. But they didn't know the history behind it. So I love that we've had the opportunity to share that with everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. I've known Tina since 2012. Early on with Round Rock Preservation. And she just amazes me how she can keep so many balls bouncing all the time and keep up with everything that she does. Before we get to the raffle tickets, Frank, you want to help me hold this up? We have these throws, this Round Rock motif with
Tall person.
a tall person. That leaves me out.
Yes. Okay.
So we have sold these in the past. We sold out of them and we ordered a new supply. Great for gift giving, great for you to have yourself. All of those are historic places in Round Rock. The price is $65 for a throw, and we are happy to sell you one of those today or any time that you are interested in having one. So the proceeds go to our preservation efforts in Round Rock, and we hope that you'll be interested in having one of those. All right, are we ready for